I'm Barraí, I'm from Cork City, which is where I completed my undergraduate degree in International Development and Food Policy, and I also completed my Master's on Economic Science. I'm currently based in Poznan in Poland, where my main supervisor is Professor Stryakiewicz, and my co-supervisor is Professor Ferraro from Lisbon. I'm currently in Lisbon on secondment, and I've already completed my secondment in Austria, and I'll be going to Mora probably in March, hopefully, for my secondment there. So my project looks at the dynamics of rural regions in Europe and economic investigation. So I put up these two kind of simple box plots to show the level of disparities between regions at a nuts tree level for the different RurAction countries. So this is looking at the GDP per capita for all nuts tree regions in the 7 countries. And you see there are a lot of positive outliers for some countries, especially Germany, Poland, Ireland. You have some regions which are a lot wealthier than others. But this is looking at all regions. So what I want to do is just look at rural regions. So removing all urban and intermediate regions and only looking at the rural regions, you still see some countries have massive outliers. So especially Germany and Ireland and Poland, you see some rural regions are a lot wealthier than others. So a lot of this research is looking at why are some rural regions doing better and some not doing well. So the research questions are, what are the regional disparities across Europe, specifically the rural regions within the 7 countries, and what is the trend over time? So are we seeing convergence over time? Are the poorer regions catching up? Or are we seeing divergence? I also want to look at how the rural regions responded to the economic crisis in 2008, because the original project said I should look at structural change. So as a big thing in structural change would be how do regions respond to crisis, and then specifically looking then at the socioeconomic characteristics that might lead to growth and also lead to resilience. Some of the key concepts are your standard kind of economic models, so the neoclassical growth model, endogenous and new economic geography, all make different predictions on whether we should see convergence, conditional convergence, or divergence. So a lot of it will be looking at these theories and see which ones fit with the data that we're actually seeing in rural regions. And also be looking at regional resilience, so how do regions adapt to recessions. The methodology for this project is very quantitative based, so I'll be using descriptive statistics and I'll be using GIS methods, like thematic mapping. So I come from an economics background, but I'm based now in a socioeconomic geography department, and my main supervisor comes from a geography background, so I'm learning a lot of new methods in terms of GIS. I'll also be using data convergence testing and econometric models. So in terms of some early inputs, I'm looking at kind of beta convergence tests over a time period from 2000 to 2014. So this is all rural regions in Europe, and we're seeing quite strong suggestion of convergence. So it seems like in all of Europe we're seeing poorer regions growing faster. And when you remove all the urban and intermediate regions, so we're just looking at rural regions, you still see strong sign of convergence. But I want to break it into 2 different time frames, so looking pre-crisis and post-crisis, to see what effect the crisis had on convergence. So looking at pre-crisis, so the time period of from 2000 to 2007, we're still seeing a very strong sign of convergence. So pre-crisis, it seems like the poorer regions were doing well. However, for post-crisis, so from the time frame 2008 to 2014, there doesn't seem to be any relationship. So this means that we don't see convergence or divergence. Some regions are doing better after the crisis, some are doing worse. So in terms of early kind of outputs, there are signs of general convergence before the crisis. However, since the recession, we're not seeing any sign of convergence. The disparity for rural regions among the 7 countries varies considerably. So my further research will be looking at the specific kind of socioeconomic characteristics of why some regions are growing faster and also why some regions responded better to the crisis. So far, in terms of my first achievements, I've presented at 2 conferences. The first one was a conference in Poland, in Piła, which is within the structurally weak rural region that RurAction is looking at. The second conference was in Cologne at the Global Conference for Economic Geography, which I did with Marina, the ESR team, and I had my first publication last month. So yeah, so far I've gained a lot from this experience, and I'm hoping after this project to continue in a career in academia. So this has been fantastic training, especially in terms of the multidisciplinary kind of methods and learning from people who are doing much different research but on similar topics.
Thank you, Barra.